with this is just seeing the quality on YouTube.
Yeah. Video looks pretty good so far.
Yeah, quality usually is good. I know sometimes when I put my interviews with players on YouTube, it's a little bit laggy, but it's still watchable. So I'm hoping it's at least that. Oh gosh, it's so weird watching a live stream of yourself. All right, let me go down here. Let me go on my phone and see it real quick. If this is actually streaming and people are watching right now, we are just testing to see how it looks on the YouTube right now. See how it's going. Let me see real quick.
Also, forewarning, when my wife gets home, you will hear dogs barking for sure.
My dog, you know, it's funny. My dog's over there just sleeping on the couch, and I know the second your dog start barking, then he's gonna start barking. And
oh
then
yeah,
it's gonna be a whole mess.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna kick him out of the room as soon as that happens.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's so heartbreaking to move them because they're just sleeping. You know, like, are they sleeping right now? All right, let's see. All right, so share screen. You can see that well?
Yep.
All right, let me just see. I'm watching the YouTube channel. Oh, we got 3 people in here already.
What's up, friends?
Lucas. That's my dude right there. Lucas likes all my stuff. He's my favorite. I want to see how well it plays now. I'm just playing a little bit of one of the videos just to see if we're getting any lag.
Don't know who the hell that quarterback is.
Oh, he's a stud. Lead us to the promised land. Oh, yeah, that plays real well, at least on mobile.
Oh, that's so.
Sweet. All right, guys, cool. So we are here live streaming some Colts film here today. First time we're doing this. That's why we were obviously going back and forth looking at the stuff on YouTube. I can see a couple people in there right now. Brandon, Lucas. So thank you guys for jumping in right now. I'm going to probably pub it right here real quick on Twitter too. But yeah, man, excited to talk some film here. And it's been a while since you've really jumped on some film and done some stuff like this, right, Jake? Because you've been with the Colts.com for a while now, huh? Yeah,
been a hot minute. I outside of just normal podcast appearances, I don't get the chance to do this too much.
Yeah, man. It's so cool, like getting into the Zoom stuff. You've been doing a lot of Zoom stuff too. Like I know a lot of reporter guys have been jumping into Zoom calls and stuff. The team has been doing a lot with Zoom. Have you been really trying to learn a lot of Zoom? That's what I've been just trying to learn Zoom.
So as far as like administrating and like conducting my own Zoom stuff, no, I'm pretty basic at that. The team, like all of their media availability is done over Zoom right now. Like over a typical off season, we would have been at the facility and like been in the locker room a bunch by now, but now it's literally just like you and me right now on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. I don't hate it at all. It almost feels more like you get to have more like personal time with the person, even though if you're in a gallery of 20 other media, you know, you're not scrambling around in a locker room and trying to fight through 5 layers of people to talk to the quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I've talked to I think it's been 13 or 14 players this offseason, which is way better than I thought I would get going into the offseason for sure. It started off as just like a one-time thing with Ben Bonagou, and it kind of turned into, you know, Kamoka Toure, Anthony Walker, Nyheim Hines, which I know you told me about a year ago that Nyheim was a great interview, and he was outstanding, man.
That's my guy. He's there's a few players that I make sure to go kind of shoot the bull with them after the games there at Lucas Oil, and he's definitely one of them.
I will say Nyheim was probably, well, I want to say the first player because I've had a couple of prospects and stuff, but definitely one of the more memorable ones who actually like asked me about like my fiance, my wedding coming up and all that. Like just a really, really good guy. And I love Nyheim. Like he's like, I loved him before that. And then afterwards it's like, okay, awesome. Favorite player.
Yeah. It's funny. Him and Jordan Wilkins have lockers right next to each other in the stadium, and just listening to them after games is hilarious. And I mean, when he was a rookie, I asked Nyheim about what his first touchdown celebration was going to be, and he said it was going to be the LaDainian Tomlinson one, where, you know, you pop it up in the air. And after his first couple touchdowns, I told him I was still expecting it because he didn't do it. And he's like, I got to wait for a longer one. And then he returns 2 punts in week 16 for touchdowns. It still doesn't do it.
Did he tell you the story about what his dad told him after that game?
I don't think so.
So we were talking when I did my film session interview with him. He was talking about how his dad is kind of like Coach Rathman, kind of like a little bit like a hard ass, but like a loving hard ass.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the game. And I was like, what's the first thing your dad said after the game? And he said, well, on the one that you got tackled, you should have gone left or instead of right.
Yeah.
And Naeem was telling me he only went right because went left because he didn't want to get tackled by a punter. He never wanted to get tackled by a punter.
Yeah. I do recall it now. Maybe it was talking from you, but I remember him saying he wound up getting caught on that one where he didn't break it because he didn't want to get brought down by the punter.
Yep, and then his dad told him right after the game, well, he should have gone the other way instead of congratulating him on the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I will say, though, the peace sign and running into the tunnel, that's like iconic now.
Oh, yeah. Where he just peace out. Yeah. I hope we see like a bunch more of that this next year. But
you can use that photo that Colts.com got. You can use that in so much context. I've used it a couple times before. I'm not mad at him about that one.
He has so many great photos to use and stuff like that. I used the one where he's mossing Tyrann Mathieu a lot. That one's my favorite. Like any of his spin move scores or big spin moves in the open field. Like he's got some great photo ops. All right,
maybe more with Phillip Rivers this year. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I hope so, man. He told me that he's expecting his role to stay the same, but getting to more of our topic of today, guys, because now I see a bunch of people really piling in and starting to watch this live chat here. We're going to be talking about Coach Matt Eberflus, this defense. They're kind of chaotic and unique blitzes here on third downs and kind of how the Colts were able to create pressures on third downs without having, I don't want to say they didn't have a great defense. I didn't have a good defense line. Kamoko Toure was great early on. Justin Houston was good throughout, but they didn't have a lot of guys who were winning one-on-ones all year round. So Coach Eberflus has done a great job these last 2 years at really mixing these blitzes in. But before we jump in, I want to ask you, Jake, you've been around the locker room, you've been around the players, you've seen this up close the last 2 years. Coach Eberflus came in, was supposed to be a part of Josh McDaniel's staff, was kept by Frank Reich. Has done a pretty good job. In 2018, he was, I think they were like a top 13 DVOA team, forced a lot of fumbles, one of the best run defending defenses. And then much like last year, I think they were top 15 for most of the year, top 5 in run defense as well. So he's done a pretty good job up to this point. Obviously you want to see the next step, but so far, what's your take on Coach Matt Eberflus and kind of what he's done with this defense the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think we saw it right away in his first season that when the Colts didn't have a standout, like an individual standout pass rusher, he was able to scheme up pass rush. And I think that continued into his second season because we kind of saw some wrinkles. They didn't blitz a whole lot initially in 2018. And then it seemed like more and more they kind of picked it up, and he was able to actually, whether it was masking things here or there, and we saw how much he liked nickel blitzes, especially Kenny Moore late in the season. And, from these clips, we're definitely going to see more of that. But there's just little wrinkles you're going to see that he really likes. And having Komoko Toure, definitely, having him developed into his second season really helped. You could tell Justin Houston, huge presence out there as well. So he's finally got some standout pass rushers, but when the Colts were really anemic at pass rushing, especially at times in 2018, there were long stretches where they didn't even hit the quarterback. He found ways to actually manufacture pressure.
Yeah, for sure. And I really do enjoy a lot of what he does at defense coordinator. And honestly, his philosophies are a lot different than mine. I like cover 3 and I like press man a lot. The Colts do like a lot of press man as well, but they are that cover 2, Tampa 2 type defense, which I don't particularly love, but I like what the Colts do with it. And I think that they operate in ways that the whole defense kind of acts as one. And for the most part, it's been working these last 2 years. But today we're going to talk about these blitzes here. And I think, I sent you this clip last night, so I'm sure you watched it. It's only like 2 minutes long, but we're going to be pausing it and doing a lot of stuff with it here. But I think there's three elements to these blitzes here, and you can jump in here too after this. But I think there's three key elements to these blitzes being so successful. One is the stunting up front with the defensive line. I think the stunting is huge. Two is just making everything look the same. Almost every blitz starts out the same way. It looks like they're bringing heavy inside pressure, and then it just changes throughout the rush so much. And then three, I'm going to single out one player here, but I think it's Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is so big in almost all these blitzes, whether he's dropping into coverage, he's blitzing over the center, he's doing those like coffee house stunts where he's fake blitzing or fake stunting and going up. I think he's just so big to what they want to do with this stuff here. But what was kind of your takeaways just initially before we jump into it, looking at some of these blitzes?
Yeah. So as a body from all these clips, some of the things I really noticed, he loves the nickel blitzes, especially. Yeah. Again, like we said, that's especially true when it is Kenny in the nickel, like you see here. There's a lot of mixing and matching of personnel. If you'll notice here in nickel, you have Darius, of course, a traditional off-ball linebacker, but the man blitzing up, or at least seeming to blitz up the middle with him, is usually a defensive back playing that second linebacker position. It looks like it's Quincy Wilson here.
That's Quincy. Yep.
We traditionally have seen that to be, Clayton Geathers in the past, but it looks like Clayton is down here coming into the box. That's him right there. So that's kind of interesting. They like to, it kind of makes offenses wonder a little bit more what's coming, because, if you have a defensive back there where you'd normally would have a linebacker, do you want them in coverage? Is it third down? They have, four guys bunched up here and another down here. So, if they wanted to go in coverage, that would make sense. And another thing, it's something we especially got used to seeing in the former Tampa 2 days, was these defensive ends split out real wide. Especially they like to have the speed rusher split out real wide. So I definitely like that as well.
Yeah. So looking at this first clip here, and this is probably the best one to look at. One, because it shows the Colts' current quarterback kind of, struggling with kind of the blitz read. I mean, obviously no one's going to get this ball away because it's such quick pressure, but I just love what they do with this blitz here, because, they're giving so many different looks here. So up top, we got four receivers. We got the running back and we got three receivers up top, and there's only two defensive backs up there. So right away as a quarterback, maybe you look for a screen or something like that. But obviously, this is a mismatch they're going to be looking at because the Colts are showing such heavy blitz. They got Darius Leonard, Quincy Wilson, and they got their down lineman right here. Like you said, they got the split wide with the wide nine right here. And I believe Kamogaturi's out wide as well in that wide nine in this spot here. So you would expect, just reading this play as a lineman and reading it as a quarterback, that all these guys are going to be coming. These guys are going to probably be staying in coverage. Maybe one of these guys drops out, but you're expecting these guys to come. And from my takeaway when I looked at this clip was, offense, you can jump in on this too, but offensive linemen, they are taught to, when the pressure is coming, always block the innermost defender. You want to block the innermost guy. At worst case, you let the outside guy get a free rush, but you want to make sure the closest path to the quarterback is blocked. And that's kind of where they get these guys here. So this tackle, he jumps inside, even though the Colts are doing a lot of stunting and blitzing different guys here. But just look at how many different guys come from what you expect. You expect these 5 or 6 guys at the middle. And then when you actually play the clip, you get, when it eventually goes, oh, I didn't even see Hooker out here. So it's actually Hooker's out here as well. So it's 3 on the 4. When you blitz, both these guys drop.
Yeah, they fake the blitz and drop back out.
Yep, but you also got the corner and Toure's swinging inside. So right here, Toure's going to be looping inside. This corner is going to be blitzing right here, which is going to be a staple of almost all of these that we're going to show. It's going to be the biggest thing that they do to create pressure. But because this tackle is expecting this interior blitz, he's picking up right here. So he's expecting that this is going to be his guy. And that leads to Ben Bonagou's first career. Well, what should have been his first career sack. I think they labeled it as a half sack, which was kind of dumb. But that's with 5 guys right there creating 1.5 second, 2 second pressure and sack. And I just think this is so great, just showing, all this look right here that, we're going to bring everybody and they just drop everybody out.
And honestly, I think one of the more impressive parts of it is, from watching Austin Eckler's season last year, that still image of the 4 receivers over there with him at the top of the field, that almost gives you hives, like
Yeah.
if he just takes that hesitation and Rivers swings it to him and then he has the blockers there in front of him. God, that could have been an enormous gain. And the Colts got immediate pressure and Rivers did not get it out there. And, just that little bit of hesitation, the Colts were able to get immediate pressure on that. And like you said, Toure, being a traditional outside speed rusher, stunts in a little bit while Kenny flies in on his side. That left side of the line is totally overwhelmed there. And
Yeah.
Bonagou gets a clean move inside and everyone meets at the quarterback.
Yeah. And I love it too, because, this is kind of taking advantage of, because I believe the Chargers had a undrafted rookie starting at left tackle. I think another undrafted rookie starting at right tackle. Like their offensive line was bad when everyone was healthy last year, but Russell Okung was out this game. So they just had, they just did not have it all going for them here. And the Colts really took it. This is the first third down of the game, and they're able to get this sack here. I thought it was a really great design, and we're going to see a lot of the similar concepts on other plays here. So this is getting to the second clip. You can kind of see almost the exact same thing. Guys lined up across the line. Like you said, when we first started, this is Clayton Gathers right here. I believe this is Darius Leonard right here. And then we actually got Willis up in the box too. So we just got 4 defensive backs. We got 7 guys across the line right here. So just showing all out blitz. Yeah. But what the Colts do really well with this is, it looks like they're going to, drop into a man, or it's going to be straight up man. So the quarterback is getting a man coverage read from this. So like, even if you're a quarterback reading this, you can read it. Maybe the safety's taking right here and Willis is taking right here. So you're going to get straight up zero man blitz. But what the Colts do a really great job at is they drop out into zone at a lot of these blitzes. So it kind of, it's a way to cover the sticks, but also get pressure on the quarterback here, which again, they do right here by also dropping into zone. So we're going to play this one as well. And again, just guys dropping out, corners blitzing, and then it just flusters the quarterback into almost throwing a pretty bad pick 6 here. Rock was so close to getting that one.
Yeah, I remember they blew that one dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And the ball just barely hit the ground. But he nearly got his first pick of the year. But again, I love how Kenny disguises his blitzes. He never really looks like he's coming until a second before the snap is gone.
Yeah. Cause he's checking to the sideline here. And Derek Carr is really none the wiser as to, is he coming? And then just at that last second, Moore refocuses his attention on the quarterback and blitzes. And then this time, I believe both of the linebackers bailed and went into coverage on the first clip. And this one, we see, I think it's Okereke is the true linebacker there. Yeah. He goes ahead and blitzes while Gathers goes out into coverage. So slightly different wrinkle than we saw in the first one.
Yeah, and what you also see too, like look at these defenders down here on the line. You got Willis right here, and we got Clayton Gathers right here. Their drops are almost exactly to the sticks every time. So their drops are going to be right to the sticks. They're just playing sticks. They're playing prevent the sticks here. And it really does, it really confuses the quarterback because every outlet that you think, these guys are sitting on the sticks, but they're also playing downhill. So if you're looking for a check down, they're still right there to make a play. If you're looking for something right at the sticks, that's where their drops are. So you can't find your outlet there. So it's a really cool design where it gets pressure. It confuses the offensive line and what their calls are. And it also covers the sticks and kind of takes away all that, which is why I love this stuff on third down and why it's been so effective for the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love Willis I hope Willis takes that Clayton Gathers role this year of being right here.
Oh, I can almost guarantee he's so smart.
Yeah, no, we got to do a whole one of these on Willis one of these days. Mm-hmm. Just watching Willis and being in awe of what he's doing because everything he does is just so great on the football field. I think he's this close. I think he's this close to breaking out and being a stud. If he just if he can get a little more of a better feel in deep coverage and such, and be more of a playmaker back there, then watch out. He's gonna be a stud.
Yeah, and I think he's rangier than Clayton. So, if he can get on Clayton's level in a hurry, he'll learn from his experiences of just his rookie year. So he's a guy I don't worry about at all. I think he's going to be a stud for them.
Yeah, no reason whatsoever to worry about him. And then getting to this next clip here again, it's the same thing. And this is what I said at the beginning about the key elements of this blitz here. It's just showing that same blitz every single time. I think this is going to be Kari again right here. I think this is Leonard this is Gathers and
Gathers.
Gathers and Okereke. Yeah, Leonard was out this game. I got to stop throwing him in there. But this is Okereke and Gathers again. But again, it's just that straight up look here. And especially for a quarterback like Carr, Carr does struggle a lot with blitzes and such. And I honestly think when I watched this game, if they would have brought pressure like this for most of the game, they probably would have won, because Carr, the second they started throwing blitzes like this, just couldn't get the ball out to his reads. He really.
And you got Houston way outside there on the left end.
Oh, dude, love me that wide nine. I talked to Kamoko and Bonagou about the wide nine stuff, and they love it. I mean, they're pure speed guys. So that's where they want to be. You come downhill and work your move quickly there. But
Trey can just get so low under the tackle's belly when he lines up that wide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been working on that long arm a little bit too.
God, he's probably the number one guy I point to on the team and say, God, if he can give them 16 games, they're gonna get something crazy out of him.
Yeah, when I talked to him, I was completely sold. When I talked to him not too long ago, smartest dude I've ever talked to, I think.
Although he's kind of young to football, anytime I've talked to him, he always has mentioned how he's just developing moves. I'm not a big in the lab guy, but he is a guy that stays in the lab working on his game constantly. And I mean, as a Colts fan, you of course want to see him taking advantage of having Robert Mathis that close. Shoot, Robert Mathis has been like his dad since he's gotten to Indianapolis, which is awesome,
Yeah, no, he's been there, and he it was actually funny. He compared himself to Robert Mathis, obviously, but he was comparing Ben Bonagou to Justin Houston, which was interesting. And he said they can be like those guys across from each other.
That'd be dirty.
That would be great. But looking at this next clip here, it's again this is the same stuff. I mean, again, we were just talking about a second ago, but the same stuff. Okereke, Gathers, Willis, same exact guys in the box, and they just do something completely different here. They bring Kenny again right here, which again it's going to be a theme. They drop just Okereke out, and I believe they bring Gathers on this play as well.
Yeah, which is the opposite of the last one we saw.
Oh, and
is that Teray dropped into coverage on that?
Yeah, he drops right into this.
Autry was on his inside.
That's great.
Yeah, it's the same looks, but totally different actions from a lot of those guys. I mean, the personnel is a little different, but it's the same. It's the same looks and packages, but different actions coming from each of those guys.
Yeah, and when Brandon just mentioned here that Teray had a 91 grade by Pro Football Focus before he went out with injury.
Oh yeah, he was
greatest player on the team.
Yep, he was. I think he was PFF's number 2 or 3 edge defender when he got hurt.
Yeah, he was doing that on 28% of the snaps.
And it's not like he just had one huge game that did it. Like that Chargers game, he was huge. This Chiefs game, he was huge. I think against the Falcons, he came up pretty big.
Falcons, he had, if I remember off the top of my head, I could be misquoting, but I believe he only had 14 snaps in that game, but he had 3 pressures in a quarterback hit. So yeah, he was great early last year. And if he can, as long as he still has that explosiveness, he's going to be, with broken legs, tough to come back from, but he's going to be a stud this year, I think.
Yeah.
But again, next clip here, exact same look. I mean, the exact same look.
Imagine that.
Yeah, crazy, right? Except I think we got a different guy out here, so we don't have the 7 on the line. We have 6 on the line here.
Yep.
But same look, we're just going to be stacking this middle right here, making this safety aware of a potential blitzer.
And it's the air and the nickel on that too.
Yeah, and it's against Pat Mahomes too. This is against Derek Carr or even Phillip Rivers. I love Phillip Rivers, but even Phillip Rivers, it's against Pat Mahomes, probably the best quarterback in football, and probably will be for the next 10 years or so. Not afraid to bring this blitz against anybody though. In this one, they just bring it all up front. I'm going to move this out of the way so I can look at it. But they actually bring everybody that they're showing, except this middle player is actually doing more of a delayed blitz, and he's stopping at the line and kind of watching because Pat Mahomes is so great getting out of the pocket.
I think I think Walker's responsibility on that was, a careful blitz.
Yeah.
If it looks like he's staying, go for it, but otherwise chase him out of the pocket if he's going.
Well, they do the same thing against Deshaun Watson, which actually, speak of the devil, he's right here. They do a lot of the same stuff against Deshaun Watson, where it's blitz, but like be aware because he's going to move.
Yeah.
Which is so much of what today's football is now. These quarterbacks are all really good athletes and they work so well out of the pocket. They just, you have to be aware of what they're going to do every time. But this is just a great play. And this is probably Quincy Wilson's highlight game of the year, probably of his career with the Colts. It wasn't as great a game as what people were saying when they were trying to hype up Quincy last year. I think he still gave up like 3 catches to Kelsey, but
it showed his versatility.
Yeah, no, got in Kelsey's head, used his length pretty well. But I like that this blitz is not passive. We're going to bring it against any quarterback. It's not just going to be the Carrs and Phillip Rivers. It's going to be Deshaun Watson and Pat Mahomes too. They're going to bring this type of pressure and really disrupt the quarterback and make them have to get it out fast. Because Mahomes throws this ball behind his receiver, even when his receiver had offensive pass interference called against him here. And
if I'm not mistaken, again, like you said, doesn't matter the opponent. That's obviously a buzzsaw offense you're playing. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, that's a game where they really ratcheted up the man coverage.
Yeah.
Because they typically a very zone-based defense. They ran it more than anyone the year before, and then week 5 they're showing all this man coverage. And when you're blitzing as well, that definitely makes things hard for the quarterback. And it's ballsy to do it against a guy like Mahomes, like you were saying.
Yeah, which honestly was great that they did all that man in that game. I think it was really not wouldn't say like a last second adjustment, but something they looked at in the season before, obviously in the playoffs when they were getting smoked by the Chiefs. Yeah. And then the week before that, the Lions, I think, ran the most man coverage in the league. And it was one of Mahomes' worst starts ever as a starter. And then going into that Colts game, the Colts did the same thing. And we actually got the worst start of Mahomes' career. That, that's going to go down maybe for a while as the worst start of Mahomes' career. It's the only time he scored under like 25 points in the game in his career.
Yeah.
Insane. So,
and it was proven throughout that 2018 season that he was dominant against zone coverage. And so after the playoff loss, I think they knew they had to change it up. And like you said, it may have been his least productive game, but of course he got a career highlight play out of it with that like 30-yard whip it across your body to Byron Pringle, who I had not heard of before and since.
Whoa! There was a hype for him in draft Twitter that year he came out in 20.
I was not privy to Byron Pringle hype.
2018, dude. At the Senior Bowl, he was taking some people's lunches down there. He was great.
All right.
That's where it came. Yeah, undrafted guy who spent his first year, I think, on IR. So yeah, obviously you don't want.
Okay. Well, Mahomes will bring it out of you, so that wasn't a bad place for him to land, I guess.
No, not. I think he's from the area. He went to community college down there, so that was a good fit for him.
Gotcha.
But yeah, again, next play against Deshaun Watson, more of the same thing. We got all these guys across the line, like you were mentioning, which you love, that wide 9 spot. Look how far out these defensive ends are. He's basically over the slot receiver out here.
Freeney and Mathis, that was like their thing back in the 2000s. Was Freeney would line up so far out and then just kill guys, and Mathis too. So, I'm sure that's more of a staple of the defense. And, Matt Eberflus has learned under Rod Marinelli, obviously, who was a Tony Dungy guy. But yeah, I love that. And I believe that is that Autry or Sheared at the bottom?
So I think this is Sheared, and I think this is Autry. You can tell by
you're right.
That sleeve is always Autry. He has that little sleeve always. And then I think this is Okereke again here. Actually, you know what? This might be Autry right here.
That is.
That's Autry. So this might be like Grover.
That's Houston and Autry.
Yeah.
That Grover does do the half sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's nerdy that we know that, but that's okay.
This angle is great to see everything, but not the greatest to see who's who.
Yeah.
You got to hope they're like Shaq Taylor and have this super long hair.
Shaq Taylor.
He got claimed by the Giants yesterday.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I saw that.
Giants now.
It's
So,
going to get real interesting once we start getting into the Shaq Taylors and Brienne Body Calhouns, and the
I
end of
didn't
this,
got that
the end
far.
of the season got pretty rough when it comes to stretching your depth chart.
I should have cut the 2018 season. We could have broken down some Lindsey Pipkins and stuff like that, and all those guys.
Lindsey Pipkins.
Or who was the guy we signed for the playoff game against Mahomes and just a safety horrible. Wilcox, right? JJ Wilcox.
Yes, because Hooker was out. By the way, why is it the Colts' best deep defender has been out both times they've faced Patrick Mahomes?
Hey, George Odom stepped up though.
That's true.
That'll be our next one. We just talk about George Odom and Cart Willis and how awesome.
Well, they had Wilcox out there in the playoff loss, and then it was like, all right, we gotta see what George Odom can do instead.
Stud.
But the damage had been done.
I love George Odom. I hope he gets better chance. He gets more of a chance this year, but he's awesome.
I like that they have like 4 safeties now that they really like. So George Odom was one of those guys that his spot on the roster, we've always known, is pretty safe the last couple of years because the coaches absolutely love him and can't say enough about him.
Yeah.
And then he no one around the league knows who he is, but he's like a cult. He's got like a cult following in the Colts fan base. He's one of those guys. And so Julian Blackmon might be another one of those guys. So they have 4 guys who at safety who they really, really like. So I'm interested how they're going to divvy up snaps on that.
Yeah. Well, early in the year, Blackmon might be on the PUP list to start the season or anything. So that makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, no Clayton Gathers to kind of, I don't want to say waste snaps because, he's obviously was a fine player, but
he's a good box defender for sure.
Every time he was on the field last year over Kari, I got a little upset. Or even over George Odom, I got a little upset because I was like,
well, they did phase Willis in. I think they recognized he was really growing very quickly and earning those snaps, and he was the starting strong safety by midseason. So I commend them for that because Clayton honestly did morph into a pretty decent special teams role. He was especially the personal protector on punt teams. So I also appreciate him kind of taking that gracious approach to his new role. Cause I mean, he was the oldest defender, or he'd been the longest tenured defender on the team, and classic team first guy, man.
Yeah, nothing bad to be said about Clayton in his career here, and hopefully he picks up somewhere else. But getting to this next clip here again, just the 5 guys across. The staple seems to be the linebacker over the center. That's something that we've seen in all these, and I think the biggest key there is just getting the center worried about the middle here. Taking the center away from maybe helping on the sides here, which I think is going to be huge for Buckner this year, because if you got, obviously you want to double Buckner every single time on these pass rush plays. If you have the center looking at the linebacker here and being aware of this linebacker, you can get Buckner some opportunities to get that swing moving quick on one-on-one pressure. And even Autry was able to benefit from that a little bit last year.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be big for Buckner, obviously. But, just playing this clip right here, again, we have all these guys across the line. Taylor's even creeping up a little bit. And then they end up only bringing 4. But I think what they do a really good job of, again, is kind of the stunts here. The stunts is what is able to get to Watson's throwing arm here and disrupt the play. Autry is able to get in there and just knock him back as he's throwing in. We get the incomplete pass. So they don't even need to blitz out of this formation to be effective. They can just drop everybody out, and that line is so discombobulated what they're reading that it allows that pressure to get in there. Even guys like Autry and Grover and all them, at the middle can get that push into the pocket and get some pressure.
Yeah, you really see what the defensive line is all about under Eberflus. They want to be. They don't wait and see on things. They want to wreak havoc, and they just want to have like controlled violence coming into the backfield, and especially on a lot of these unique blitz packages on the third downs and everything. You really see that there's not timid hesitation or anything, or just waiting to see. Like, you see guys going in, even if they've got to make double moves or they're twisting or stunning. You see that controlled chaos going towards the backfield, and that's something Eberflus has said 100 times.
Yeah, no, that's 100% the best way to describe it. And that's kind of how I would describe even their run defense and just overall defense. They
Mm.
want them to be reliable and make the plays that are in front of them. But it's about, creating chaos and getting the offense kind of having to react to what the defense is doing. It's kind of about taking control. Offense is always in control, and especially in today's NFL. Offense knows the play. Rules are set up for the offense to be more successful nowadays in the NFL. So if the defense can take some of that, control back by disrupting run lanes, by disrupting pass lanes, by tossing linemen in front of the quarterback and making him have to work on his feet like that. That's really what the Colts are trying to do with Matt Eberflus and this whole defense here, is that controlled chaos, like you said, and really disrupting plays. But getting to this next clip here again, this one's going to be like an all-out blitz, I believe. I think this is going to be.
Yeah.
We got the wide 9 here. We got safety here. I believe, again, I want to say it's Kari, but I'm not.
Yeah, sure. It's a 3. It's not Kenny.
It's long sleeve though. Kari is that long sleeve.
Yeah.
See, when you watch enough film, you pick up on what guys wear almost every single game.
Oh yeah, that's one reason I can't play Madden anymore. I used to be such a nerd when I used to play Madden. Like when I would buy it, like the first week I had it was designated towards making guys look accurate as to what they actually wore. And my wife used to make fun of me and say that was playing dress up for boys. And I was like, you know what, you're not wrong. But if I'm playing this, I need to make it accurate. And now look, it correlates because we can identify guys because we know what they wear all the time.
Exactly. It makes it just that much easier for you. And then we got Darius here, which Darius is always easy to pick up because he looks so long and lanky on every single play.
Yeah.
And then we got Anthony Walker here. And again, I think they just bring everybody here. Even the slot corner. They actually they drop off Walker.
Yeah, they had Walker go specifically to that kind of left quadrant over there.
Yeah.
I think it's
this guy's this blitz really well right here. I didn't even expect this to come, and I cut these plays last night. I didn't even expect this corner right here to come, but he's he comes in last second.
Comes in between the tackle and the guard.
Yep, and then it's just a really veteran play by Justin Houston to acknowledge like, hey, we got everybody coming right now. I'm just going to kind of loop back inside and kind of go into a quarterback spy. And I think that's just a really savvy veteran play. He kind of loops back in, gets that sack. And the Colts defense, I mean, everybody's where they need to be. I mean, there's no outlet down the field, and they have, 4 guys in coverage? Or 5 guys in coverage. You got down here as well. 5 guys in coverage, and there's no opening down the field whatsoever. So great coverage, great pass rush. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just creating that havoc up front. And this one's actually my favorite play coming up here. This is the Kari blitz up the middle where it should have been a forced fumble. It should have been a forced fumble. I believe this is the Kari blitz. Let me see real quick. Yeah. It's the Kari blitz. It should have been the forced fumble at the end of the Pittsburgh game that Leonard ran back for a score. But remember, we didn't. I think it was like late in the game. We didn't have any timeouts or something to challenge it. I can't remember what it was, but just another one. They don't even stack the box here, but they bring Kenny and they bring Kari Willis, which I think is super interesting. I want to see Kari doing this a lot more next year.
And we were used to seeing, them bring the linebackers up, into the middle, into the interior line's face. And things are a lot more spread out than we're used to seeing here. The defensive line is very much the same as it was. You got the big gap in the middle with the linemen split out wide. And it looks here like that's Jabal Sheared at the left defensive tackle.
Yeah.
And then probably Bonagou at left end.
Yeah, so Bonagou, Sheared, Autry, and Houston.
Yeah, so that's probably what their, NASCAR package was at that point in the season because you don't have Toure. So, you get your bigger ends to move inside the defensive tackle other than, Houston, of course. So you get those 4 ferocious pass rushers all on the line together. You obviously don't have like Grover out here at the time because you're not trying to eat up space against the run. It's a unique look because before it didn't really matter the personnel that the offense was using. The Colts were using that nickel blitz with the linebackers brought up to the line like each time and just, masking it a different way. So this was definitely a different approach than what we'd seen on those earlier clips.
Yeah, and I think the reason for it is they're trying to get comfortability out of this center. And, this is a really good center. This is Pouncey right here, one of the better centers in the league.
He'll latch on immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. No, he's outstanding. But I think what they're trying to get is him to look off his read quickly here because they're bringing Kari. I think the main reason why they're kind of backing them up is they want him to, help out on Sheared, help out on Autry early, and then they can sneak Willis backside, which they're able to do on this play. But speaking about that NASCAR package, you just brought it up there. I know they like to bring guys like, they like to put Sheared inside last year, and they like to have, Bonagou and Toure outside. What do you think that's going to look like with Buckner and with no Sheared this year? You think it's going to be Houston and Buckner on the inside, or you think it's going to be Autry and Buckner?
I would.
What do you think?
Yeah, I would say so. I just think it depends on. There's stuff so minute that it might depend on down and distance, or I mean, it's usually gonna be third down, but it probably just depends on the personnel. But I mean, Autry's been a staple in that, but of course you would want to have Buckner in there. I would think probably Bonagou, Toure on the outside with Houston and Buckner on the inside would be my guess.
Gotcha. All right. So looking at this clip here, though, like I've said, this is my favorite one of the whole year. Well, yeah, probably my favorite one because we got Kari sneaking in and we got Kenny coming on the outside, which every time Kenny blitzes, I get excited because good things happen for the defense. But again, it's that comfortability that I kind of told you. And I think the Kenny blitzing also kind of gets it here because they actually read this Kenny blitz pretty quickly. And I believe,
was this an empty hand fumble?
Yeah.
Like his arm was moving forward type thing.
It should have been a fumble. They didn't call it a fumble. They called it incomplete. We didn't have any way to challenge it.
I blacked this out of my memory.
Yeah. It was a game that was kind of forgettable. I mean, there was a lot of fun plays on offense, but it was the one that Brissett went down. Hoyer came in and played decent.
Oh yeah. I was so hyped for Hoyer going into the Miami game. I was like, he's going to kill them.
Dude, we were all like irrationally too excited about Hoyer going into that game.
I went out for a buddy's like birthday or something that weekend leading up to the Miami game, and I was telling people, I was like, watch out for Brian Hoyer. I was like, he is going to kill the Dolphins. I was like,
picked him up in fantasy and started him that week.
Yeah, I think I did in at least one league that I had a quarterback down. I mean, in his defense, Jacoby was healthy enough to practice throughout the week. So Hoyer wasn't getting the first team reps. So there is that. But man, I was choo-chooing the Brian Hoyer hype train hard.
I think he threw for 160, 1 touchdown, and 3 picks, I think, or something like that.
I don't even know.
Pretty bad.
It wasn't great.
Wasn't great. Forced a lot of passes that shouldn't have been forced. But breaking down this play here, even though this game was fun, but breaking down this play here, I think what really gets Kari such a wide open blitz here is the Kenny Moore blitz. They're expecting it. Their eyes are looking out there. They can see him creeping in.
Tight end approaching him. Yeah.
Yep. So tight end, I believe, stays right here to kind of help. Tackle actually, I believe, goes out to get Kenny. Guard comes right here on Bonagou, and then we got the center coming out on Sheared. And that just leaves Willis with a wide open lane to kind of come up the middle here. So we're going to play it again. And yeah, Willis is able to come up the middle. Also, the stunt kind of confused them a little bit. But yeah, this should have been a fumble. I'm so pissed. I'm still
the short area quickness is pretty good.
For who? Willis?
Yep.
Yeah, he flies. When he reads a play, he flies downhill. I mean, he is so fast out of his break when he reads the play.
His instincts are very good.
Yeah, he's going to be so good. I'm just very confident in how good he's going to be. Even Anthony Walker, when I talked to him, said Kari's going to be the breakout guy this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, they all believe in him. He's great. Yeah, and then again to this next play, we got Kari again in the box, which always gets me excited too. We got all these guys across the line. Leonard right here, Marcus Hunt. It feels like a throwback because 2018 feels like so long ago of when he was so good. Then we got Sheared way outside here on that wide 9. We got wide 9 down here. And again, it's just a lot of that same stuff, across the line, getting these linemen to kind of think, who's coming, how are they coming? Are they stunting? And then the Colts just kind of bring different packages every single time what they blitz. Right here, it's just 4 guys, but they're able to stunt across and get the pass deflection at the line of scrimmage. I think it's Leonard gets the pass.
Darius with the active hands.
Yeah, and it's just, it's so much stunting after the fact too. You're going to bring it can only be bringing 4 guys, but you're going to bring a linebacker, 3 defensive linemen. They're going to all twist around each other and create this pressure. And that's what we saw in 2018 with Eberflus too. If we're talking about creating that pressure, 2018, the Colts had very little pressure, especially with Toure kind of going through the rookie slumps and stuff. Autry, had some big games against divisional opponents, but overall wasn't, amazing that year, but he was the best thing they had. They had to stunt a lot to create pressure. And that's something they've been really good with under Eberflus.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the staples, probably the easiest way to try and get creative with that defensive front. And, looking at this still here, this is pretty unique compared to some of the other packages we've seen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the left side of Miami's line is their loaded side. You only have 1 down lineman over there. I mean, you have Darius standing up on the line, but then you go over quite a bit of ways to the left side, and you got the tackle and the end bunch. Well, it's really even hard to say who's who. But I guess you can consider them both tackles right next to each other, hip to hip, and then you've got the end again out wide. So that's one of the more unique looks in this whole package. Or in this whole collection of clips so far.
Yeah, and it's gonna be funny here. They're gonna bring everyone here. I remember this clip because I broke it down for.
We can see Malik up there as the single high. That's one where you hope you just overload the quarterback and get him to make an errant throw, and then that single high just picks it off.
Yeah, and that's what they did against the Jets with Darnold in 2018. He threw that one way over, and Malik was able to get that easy pick in center field. But this one's fun because I believe I don't know if Darius might drop out or Kari might drop out here, but I know they bring Kenny and I know they bring George Odom here on this blitz, and just the speed that they're able to get back there, just overload this is great. Yeah, so they bring all these guys, and Kari just drops right here. But look at all these guys they're bringing. Yeah, they're bringing this whole box here. Oh, and Shear drops into coverage too. So you're showing this overload down here with your defensive linemen, and then you only bring 2 guys, and you're preoccupying, 3 linemen right here, and the running backs looking this way with only 2 guys. And on the other side, you got, 4 very athletic guys flying downhill to the quarterback.
And that gives Fitzpatrick probably enough pause. He sees all those guys. He's not going to throw it there right away. And by that time, Kari Willis can pick up that receiver from the slot.
Yep, exactly.
Kind of cover that area.
Which again, very good ability from Kari to get there too for this guy. I mean, that's a long way to go really quickly. But look how quick George Odom and Kenny Moore get to the backfield. Here they are right here. Two undrafted guys flying to the backfield here, but they just get down there really quick and they're able to get the hit on him. And Hoyer just kind of throws it away down to a one-on-one situation at the bottom of the screen. Very, very unique blitz there. And that was very, very cool to see there. But again, same thing, right across the line. It's going to be in every single one of these clips, except for that Pittsburgh one, straight across the line. You're going to have Leonard right over the center. That would honestly terrify me, seeing a guy that lanky. And
yeah, because, I mean, you can't do anything yet.
Because, his arms are so long that he can just hit you at the snap.
Oh, yeah. And Leonard's the type, he'd try to leapfrog you. He's not above doing that.
I want to see that. I want to see him somehow leapfrog an actual center.
I feel like it was on a field goal or extra point. I think he tried to do the Troy Polamalu and got flagged for leverage, I think.
Yeah, I think it was in 2018, right?
Yeah, I think he was a rookie.
Yeah. Bummer. I hate that that's a call. I love the
I can't remember if it was this one or the next one where the fake by Darius, it's so effective and he kills fools.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, that's the coffee house one. The coffee house stunt where you're either faking a stunt or you're just kind of faking a delayed blitz and then you're just gone. You're just in the backfield and just able to fly past. I don't know if it's this one. It might be this one. Let's see.
He takes a full-on slow step and then I don't think it's this one. No,
this one he actually drops. See, this one's just another really interesting one because you expect when watching this.
You get him to engage with the offensive lineman, and then he goes into coverage.
You're so focused on Darius Leonard. Obviously, you're focused on the defensive line as well, but you're focused on Darius Leonard because he is.
Look how far out the ball Sheared is, man. He's closer to the receiver than he is the offensive tackle.
He's the slot corner here.
That's just it. That almost looks photoshopped. That's just bonkers.
They love
God,
the wide nine, dude.
that's hilarious.
They love the wide when they drafted Ben Bonagou, because I know a couple guys who were kind of in Banagou's camp and you know, work with Bonagou and stuff. When they drafted him, they literally called him. The first thing they said is, "We're so excited to get you in this wide nine. We want you to come downhill from that wide nine and use your speed and athleticism." And obviously, I'm sure they said the same thing to Kamoka Turd when they drafted him too. I mean, if you're saying that to Bonagou, I'm assuming you're saying that to Toure as well. But yeah, I mean, he's basically covering the receiver here. He could help rock. He could probably jam the receiver if he wanted to.
Right, yeah.
But I just love this blitz because, you know, you're so focused on Darius. He engages even. So as a lineman, you're expecting this to be your block. And then you have to quickly reassess, and you see these two, you know, safeties coming downhill at you. It's just such a unique blitz. Oh, and also Kenny fakes his blitz. So
fakes it, yeah.
You always have to be aware of Kenny's blitz.
and I'm appreciating the amount of Marvell Tell we've seen in these last couple of games too.
Yeah, he had that couple game stretch where he was basically a starter. You know, it was week.
The Pittsburgh game, I think we just saw he was out there.
Yeah, I think it was like week 8 to week 13, I believe.
The second half of the season wasn't kind to the secondary. Yeah. I mean, especially when Kenny went down, everything kind of went downhill. But I mean, there were times where they were scraping the barrel on cornerbacks too.
You know,
on outside guys.
Their defensive DVOA, right? And if you guys don't know, it's defensive value over adjustment, I believe, is what it stands for with Football Outsiders. It basically determines the strength of a defense from a lot of factors. You can go look at it on their site. But DVOA is, you know, generally considered the best way to determine how good a defense is. I know a lot of people generally use it as a way to kind of determine it. I don't know how highly you value it, Jake, but the Colts DVOA last year, I believe, was like 14 going into those last 4 or 5 games. And then when Kenny was out, they played 2 good teams. They played against the 2 good offenses, the Bucks and the Saints, but they played 2 pretty bad ones, the Jaguars and Panthers as well.
Yeah.
The DVOA dropped from like 14th in the league to like 19th in a matter of like 4 games with Kenny out going against those teams. So if you guys don't see how valuable Kenny is to this team, like I believe when Darius Leonard was out early in the year, the DVOA didn't drop nearly as much or didn't climb nearly as much when he came back as compared to how much it dropped when Kenny was out those last couple of games. So he is so valuable to this team. And you can see in all these clips right here, I mean, he's either blitzing, fake blitzing, getting in the passing lanes. He does literally everything for this team.
Yeah, I mean, he does so much. And to me, when I think of guys who, I mean, now the coaches may say different and the players themselves may, because they're always working on getting better. But guys who look like they've mastered this system, I think you look at Darius Leonard and Kenny Moore. They're to the point now where they're so comfortable that they play completely naturally. They're not out there just thinking, and they can actually trick and bait guys into things all the time. Kenny is definitely, he may have been the first guy who I saw, you know, kind of be in the master class of the defense. And, you know, Stephen Holder has, you know, when talking to him before, you say, you know, the 3 pillars of this defense is the 3 tech. You want to have an inside-outside corner and the will linebacker. Kenny is the Colts' Rondé Barber.
He is. Yeah.
Honestly, you can't really make an argument against it. Because Rondé Barber was also one of the best blitzing cornerbacks of his generation. He's actually one of the best blitzing cornerbacks ever. I mean, Kenny's obviously got a way to get there, but he fills that critical role for the Colts that Barber did for the Buccaneers. So the Colts have them, you know, a high-end perfect fit for that defense. And then communication comes into it as well. When we saw, especially against Tampa Bay and the Saints, you saw kind of what seemed like a lot of communication breakdowns leading to those bigger plays. And you'd have to think him not being out there led to some of that, you know, because his communication is, you know, he's always letting guys know what's going on. And when you don't have that, you know, you kind of lose that comfortability and confidence in what's out there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, for you guys who don't know, I think I put up stats the other day from Pro Football Focus. Kenny, the last 2 years, is, I believe, first in run stops, from all corners, not just slot, but also outside corners. First in run stops, most interceptions from the slot in the NFL, most sacks from a cornerback in the NFL, and only a passer rating, I think, of 73 when targeted in the slot. So he's a stud. No, he's an absolute stud.
Yeah.
I wish he would get more recognition league wide, but it is what it is. I mean, he's getting paid well for it. So, obviously the team knows that they, how valuable he is.
Yeah. I think his ability to play inside and outside, if he plays all 16 this year, I could see him being in the Pro Bowl. I mean, he's shown it in the playoffs too, which kind of put him on people's radar. And Touchdown Wire last offseason ranked him as the number 1 slot defender in the league. And then shortly after, he gets paid as the best slot defender in the league. So he's getting there recognition wise. I think if he stays healthy all year, his stats are usually there too. So I think he could get recognized as a Pro Bowler. Hopefully he definitely deserves it.
And I talked to Doug about his Touchdown Wire rankings this year as well. Because Kenny didn't make the list this year.
Yeah.
He said if Kenny would have played, I think he only needed to play one more game to qualify. He would have been top 3.
That's what I assumed, because there is a threshold, a certain amount of snaps you have to play from the slot and things like that. I assume that was the case, because you don't go from being the number 1 guy ranked there to off the list.
Yeah, he said he would have been top 3.
His play didn't drop off. He just missed like 4 or 5 games, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 5. I think it was 5 because he missed that Thursday night. No, he missed the
last 5 of the year.
Yeah, and he missed the early Houston game as well. So I think it was last 4 in the Houston game. But
because Shaq Taylor was out there. That's right.
But I mean, he's great. And then jump into this clip here, and we're going to talk about that play that you were excited about. This stunt by Darius Leonard to get the pressure here. You were just talking about it. I love this move so much by Darius.
Yeah. Hey, nope.
And then gets the sack.
And then kills him. Dude, that was so good. And it's so slow. It's it was so natural. He was a good actor on that one. Like, you wouldn't think he was faking that blitz right there, because that took a while.
I love it. And
then he closes so quickly to get the sack.
Yeah, and it's funny. We're talking about guys who are just so comfortable in this scheme. They know how to bait players into things.
Yes.
That's obviously part of the play here. I'm assuming he's not just doing that on his own. That would be a little weird if he was doing that on his own. But, Kenny gets credit for the sack, flying off the edge here, doing his thing. But Darius, again, just being so comfortable and knowing, the timing of everything, doing that delayed blitz and getting back there for that sack. It's just great. It's like poetry in motion watching some of these guys. Oh, and then
I think watching them mic'd up, I think I remember them fighting over that. I think I remember seeing them arguing over who got that sack.
All right, who has the better dance moves here, though, is the real question.
So some backstory to that one. Well, yeah. So Darius was honoring Robert Mathis on this one. I forget what the occasion was. He broke out that Robert Mathis dance, and then he would get to show some recognition again later in the year. I think it was the Dolphins game, so it was right before that. It was when they were putting Dwight Freeney in the Ring of Honor. He got a sack and did the salute thing.
Yeah.
And we were either referencing him or Justin Houston, because he had a sack also. But one of my just wow, I can't believe I do this moments was I was down the field for the ceremony, and then I rode the elevator back up to the press box with Dwight Freeney. And I was talking about that sack, and he said, I talked to him before the game, and I told him he owes me one more.
So you're just trying to get these players to score all the time and such. You're really betting these players to. Is that your thing?
Yeah.
Is your thing? Wait, is your thing the dances basically? Is that
no. I forget how it came up with Nyheim. A lot of the rookies, you can joke around with a lot of the rookies a lot more, because they haven't been beaten down by the media for 10 years, So a lot of these guys are much younger than us. I mean, even you. I mean, I'm 30. I know you're younger than me, but I mean, you're even a good deal older than a lot of these guys coming in. So they're a lot easier to joke with. So you can talk to them about stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I forget how that even came up, but no, I mean, if a guy is saluting you on a day you're going to the Ring of Honor, you got to mention it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. So we got this last clip here. And then we'll kind of send this off here. I know you guys have been listening for about an hour now. It's been real fun looking at these clips. I mean, honestly, I could have gone more games. I could have even added some 2018, but I didn't want to go on too long with this. But again, same exact thing here. I think we have overload on this side. Well, we got standing up guy over here. We got, I think this is the defensive end here. Yeah, we just got,
It's like
I mean,
Sheared.
yeah, just all these guys again in the box showing such a heavy blitz, and this is just such a hard read for anybody, let alone even a great quarterback like Deshaun Watson. It's such a hard read to see what's gonna be coming at you.
And it's a rare 3-man line for them too.
Yeah, that's what it is. So that's why I was kind of like trying to see.
Nico at the nose, it looks like lining just in between the center and guard there.
Yeah, so we got Autry playing kind of that one tech there. And then yeah, all these defensive backs just right here in the box. I mean, these are 4 defensive backs in the box. We got Darius Leonard creeping up as well. So it looks like everybody's coming. And
yeah, you see Darius just flying in.
Yeah, when Darius actually does come, it's a thing of beauty. I mean, he flies back here, and he's able to get back there and get that quarterback hit. And also great coverage by George Odom again there on the back end. But yeah, I mean, these blitzes are just super fun to watch. If you guys are ever interested in really watching a lot of what Eberflus does, just go on your NFL Game Pass. I don't know if they still have. Are they still offering free Game Pass, or do you not know that?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. They might be offering free Game Pass. So if not, I think it's only like $60 for a whole year. For someone like me who's a film junkie and writes a lot of stuff on this, I mean, that is probably the best deal I've ever gotten on anything. I mean, I think it's $100 or $60 for a year.
Yeah, when you don't have a deal on it is rough stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. But yeah, I mean, if you guys are ever interested in going back on these clips and stuff, I mean, any third down in 2018 or 2019 where you see it's a passing play, you can almost bet that the Colts are bringing more guys. They just love doing it. It's how they create pressure. And I know we've heard a lot of Eberflus kind of being a passive defensive coordinator. You know, I've heard a lot of fans saying that. And I've never really bought into that. I've always seen the stunts. I've always seen the blitzes. And I think looking at this kind of shows that, you know, he's not very passive. I think he only blitzed at a 23% clip last year, which was kind of towards the lower end of the league, but he knows when to blitz. You know, he won't blitz too much on first or second down, but he's going to bring it on third downs. I wonder if there's a site that breaks it down by like third down blitzes, like how often they blitzed on third down.
Yeah, that sounds like a Football Outsiders thing.
They break down everything.
Yeah, but no, I kind of wonder if they start to get a more consistent disruptive pass rush with just four guys, if they start blitzing even less, because I mean, you know, Buckner signing is going to help that, you know, Toure being healthy and Bonagou being another year in the system is going to help. So I wouldn't be surprised if they blitz a little less, but like you said, it's not how often, it's when. You know, he knows when to blitz. So overall, I think they could blitz less, but we'll definitely still see those creative wrinkles on third down.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean, if we have a full season this year, it's gonna be fun. So knock on wood that's a thing this year. I know.
Yeah.
You know, as
it's
of
like a lot of definitive statements, not knowing if it's gonna be here.
Yeah.
I'm approaching it as if it's gonna be here because that's how the NFL is doing it. So
I feel like NFL is gonna play. College, I'm very skeptical. You know, if I were a college athlete that was even somewhat being considered for the draft, I probably wouldn't play. But I feel like the NFL, I mean, there's just so much money into it, and there's just so many guys that want. I mean, the Colts have had 0 opt-outs so far, so a lot of guys want to play.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Chris Ballard today. He said they had a very productive team meeting just last night because, I mean, they're starting to report to camp and everything now this week. I said they had a very productive talk about, you know, their plan, people's concerns. They want to let the players and everyone know what steps they're taking to, you know, keep people's health at a premium. And he said, you know, as of the time we talked to him today, that no players were planning to opt out. I mean, of course, that situation's kind of fluid as things keep developing, but I mean, I don't know if you want to say luckily, because you can't fault any guys for wanting to make
Yeah.
decisions for their health and their family's health. But I mean, so far they've been unaffected enough to not feel the need to opt out. So
Yeah, I know there are a couple guys with newborns on the team, like
yeah,
Mike Lewinsky. I think someone said the other day that Willis recently had a kid
yeah.
too.
Well, Willis had twins last year.
Twins, yeah. So there's obviously a lot of guys where if they did opt out, obviously, no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't have an issue if anybody opts out. I mean, that's just a weird thing to have an issue with it. But hopefully we get to see all these guys playing. I mean, I would hate to not see these guys on the field next year.
Yeah, that's why to me it's not going to be heartbreaking if the season doesn't happen. It's because everyone totally has the right to put them and their family's safety first. So I mean, you can't be mad at guys for focusing on that. And if it were 15, 20 guys per team, that would be okay. I think you'd have to obviously look at pushing the season back or canceling it altogether. But yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, it's been fun. An hour long talking Coach Eberflus and some blitzes here. I'm always down to talk some stuff. We got to do this.
Yeah.
We got to do this more often.
I agree. And I'm a big tangent guy. As you can see, I can stretch this into 5 different stories per clip.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing about being on YouTube and not being like on a podcast form or something like that is like, I don't care how long I go. Like podcast, It feels like once you hit like the 30-minute mark, you feel like you're going too long. Mm-hmm. Where, when you do a stream like this, you'll maybe, I think the most we've had is 10 people at a time watching or something like that, but people are going to be interested. They're going to watch and stuff like that. And, unique stories and stuff when you just kind of talk some random bullshit and stuff, which is fun. Like there's no real restrictions when it comes to this, and people are bored. I mean, you guys listening right now, I know Robbie just jumped in. I know Brandon's been here for a while. Rod just jumped in. A lot of you guys are kind of still admitting here, but we're all just kind of bored right now, aren't we? Like, I mean,
yeah,
I'm trying to find stuff to come up with to write about. And it's sometimes just fun just to jump in and just watch some film and talk some ball and shoot some shit. I mean, you have a lot of locker room stories. I've talked to, 13, 14 guys all season. I've talked to a lot of them when they were prospects as well. So I know some of these guys as well. It's just fun to talk about these guys and get some inside info to the fans about some of these guys,
Yeah, no, I'd definitely be down to keep doing this because I've been bored out of my mind. I haven't really been working since the beginning of July, trying to, keep myself informed on everything. But as far as writing and everything, I haven't, it's been about a month. Won't be at training camp. So this is different for me, for the first time since 2013, I'm finding myself without things to do. So I would definitely be down to keep doing this because it brings back good memories of when football was normal, and it gives me something to do and talk about football related.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, how are your Wednesday nights going forward? You want to do this on Wednesday nights? Tentatively schedule it for Wednesday nights?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Let's do it. Maybe not an hour every single time, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see going forward. Well, awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah, well, hey, topic suggestions.
Yeah, we'll do some topic suggestions. You guys have any topics you want us to talk about? I'll gladly cut up some film and we'll talk about them in here. Maybe even players to talk about. I know I mentioned multiple times that we got to talk about Kari and George Odom and stuff. But yeah, man. Any closing thoughts here before I end the stream, or I try to figure out how to end the stream? I don't really know how to end it. Let me see. But yeah, man, any closing thoughts here while I try to figure that out?
Not really, man. There's just nothing in the NFL you can definitively say right now that hasn't already happened. So that's why, studying film and things like this of things that have already happened is so fun because everything in the NFL this year is unknown.
Yeah.
I've been trying to focus on more fantasy stuff too, but at the same time, one of my top 5 rated receivers or something could opt out, and then we just don't know anything right now.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, we're this close to the season and we still have this uncertainty kind of, all over everything right now. So it's kind of just
It's interesting,
Sucky.
but also not awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I'm excited to do some more of these guys, and you guys who are listening, and the 6 or 7 of you guys who have been listening to this like entire thing. Wow, honestly, we're both you guys like to drone on and kind of keep going. So definitely hats off to you guys who listen in on the whole thing or even listen to some of it here. It's again, it's just fun just to shoot the shit and talk some ball. But yeah, we're gonna try to do these every Wednesday. Let's talk some film with you guys. You guys give us some topics and we'll try to break them down and try to get you guys some more film stuff here on the Colts from last year. I think that'd be really fun. All right, let's end this off then.